Life in a Blacksmith Shop circa 1911, and other rural American stories. When I was living a few blocks away here in Saginaw on Stevens Street, I was always digging up old horseshoes and even some tools that were used, most likely by a blacksmith in shoeing horses and in cleaning the hoofs. After that, I've always been kind of curious as to what it would be like to work in a blacksmith shop. I recently found an article from 1911 about two boys who got to find out firsthand what it was like to work in a blacksmith shop. And so here's their story. The story takes place out west in Montana. There were two brothers who went to work for an elderly blacksmith who hired them to shoe horses as it had become difficult for him to do that. So let's go to that narrative. A fascinating step back to see an occupation nearly wiped out with the coming of the automobiles, which of course don't need to be shoed. My brother Stuart and I went to work for old Mr. Preeter. He would shape the horseshoes while Stuart and I trimmed the horses' hooves and nailed the shoes on. I had trimmed horse hooves before, but had never tried to shoe a horse, especially some of the broncs that we had to shoe in those days. There were a lot of them too. Me and my brother both shod horses every day, as people then had far hauling and had to have their horses shod to save their hoofs and their feet. Because if they weren't, they would get sore from the hard roads that they traveled. The hoofs of an unshod horse would split, causing him to go lame, and he'd be of no service for a month or two until the split hoof would grow out. This photograph was taken in the Preeter Blacksmith Shop the fall of 1911 with Stuart in the background and myself by the anvil in the front. I was 21 years old and Stuart was 28. I might add also that Brother Stuart came here in September of 1911 in a covered wagon from north of Rapid City, Dakota, where he had proved up on a homestead that year around Piedmont, South Dakota, or in Meade County. He and his brothers, Conrad, James, along with two of my sisters, Carolyn and Elizabeth, homesteaded together in that area. When I immigrated in a boxcar filled with horses, machinery, etc. to Montana, where I fled on my homestead, Brother Stephen came along with me to help me get on the ropes, that is, so to speak. He helped me to get started and picked rocks for me while I was breaking sod that first year. I broke almost all of my homestead with horses inside of 3 years' time, and only hired 40 acres broken up the first year that I came out by a steam outfit, as I wanted that to be in flax by May. It made 12.5 bushels to an acre, which was pretty good. The market was around $2.50 per bushel, and I hauled the flax to Stanford, 25 miles away. No roads, just sod, and we drove across country until the homesteads started to fence. Then we had to drive around the corners. Now, this very brief look at Blacksmith Shop, and I hope you enjoyed this little outing to 1911. While you're here, please take a half a second to subscribe to the Dennis Morrison channel so you won't miss a single new program here on the Dennis Morrison channel. Sometimes, folks, my reading gets a little choppy, and I don't mean for that to happen. It has a lot to do with the pain medication that I take because of the pain issues I have going on. But I have this to say. Most of the things that I present on my channel you will not find anywhere else. And so if you want truly historic programming that again you won't find elsewhere, check out my playlists, because there's a great deal here, and I hope that you'll find lots of things that you enjoy out of the some 6,000 videos that I now have here on YouTube. All right, have a great night. God bless each and every one of you.